There's no place like home for Atlanta United 2, who returned to Fifth Third Bank Stadium after 7 straight on the road. FC Cincinnati started at the bottom of the East. Now they find themselves in striking distance to the playoff line. Match week 18 of MLS Next Pro is at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. Hello, welcome, I'm Ryan Lee. Thanks for joining us, and both teams are eyeing the top 8 in the final 3 months. For Atlanta, it's their first game back at KSU in 78 days. Head coach Steve Cook said it's delightful to finally return home after the last match here on April 23rd. For Cincinnati, they entered June dead last in the East on a 4-game losing streak. 5 straight wins later, they're now 4 points away from the number 8 seeded NYCFC. Ty Marshall put it simply, when you're at the bottom, the only way to go is up. They'll have to go up against an Atlanta United 2 side that has really changed a lot of things since their month off. Top playmaker Cayman Tagashi's back in lineup after a month out with a knee injury. Armas and Sesak are met with Sanchez and Chongqi in the midfield. Cobb joins the back line after 32 total matches in the MLS since 2024. And Jaden Hibbert has spent the last couple matches backing up Brad Kuzan. He makes his 10th appearance in 2025. As for Cincinnati 2, they've made 7 changes since their match against NYC, with no first-team guys, but 10 guys coming in from the academy. Chavez and Ikoba are up top with 7 total starts between them. Mangione is the lone holdover starter versus NYC in the midfield, with 4 new starters in that middle 5. Nate Crockford is between the pipes in today's match in his 5th start in his first season in MLS Next Pro. He has 2 wins under his belt. However, they were both in the penalty kick shootout. He is still looking for his first win in regulation and potentially extending Cincinnati's win streak to 6. We make our way towards the center at Fifth Third Bank Stadium, where this pitch has been vacant since April 23rd in a 2-2 draw versus Carolina Core, which was a PK win in favor of Atlanta. The last couple months have taken them all over the place, including home games rescheduled, which turned into road games at Crown Legacy, road games at Orlando, before taking a couple of matches over at Athens, where they played at the home of the Georgia Bulldogs against NYC and Huntsville. All of the adversity and struggles that Atlanta has dealt with has not necessarily worked in their favor as of late, because they've lost their last 3 since their hiatus, with the match against Inter Miami getting postponed and the bye weeks they've had a long stretch of no games. And because of that, Steve Cook said that this is one of the most difficult stretches of his career as a player or a coach after 56 years and almost 40 years in the sport. It's something that he said, quote, have never seen before, and nothing can replicate it. He added this by saying that they'll have to put the past behind us because there are new expectations. It's a new season. It might as well be a preseason week. And for Cincinnati, they've caught fire at the right time. You look back a month ago on the match on the 3rd of June against Philadelphia Union 2. That was the 4th consecutive loss. Dead last in the Eastern Conference, and they couldn't get a goal to save their lives. Dead last in the MLS Next Pro as well. Since then, 1-0-4 in the 5 since. All 4 of those games went to PKs. They secured the bonus points, not just stealing games to get the games to PKs in the first place, but stealing multiple points to get the 2. Now they are 4 points behind NYC for the number 8 slot as we make our way towards kickoff. Atlanta in the 5 stripes, right to left they start. For Cincinnati, the white and blue, they start off left to right as our MLS Next Pro crew is in Fifth Third Bank Stadium. Ryan Lee and our crew, we thank you for joining us on a Wednesday afternoon as this one slowly dribbles towards the feet of Nate Crockford, who makes his first touch. And for Crockford, he is back in goal. He has only played 4 goals this season, yet to get a win in regulation, but he has secured 2 wins. Both of those were in the PK shootout. The first match that he played, he actually got sent off because he took a tackle outside of the penalty area, so he got sent off in the 89th minute in his debut this season on May 9th against the Chicago Fire. And he has been in good form as of late, including winning in the PK versus Chattanooga the last time out on the 21st of June. For Atlanta United on the other end, they have not played in 29 days. It's been a very unique situation for Steve Cook and the Five Stripes. He really talked about how this is a brand new season in front of them. There's no time to really build into the season. It's about kind of putting the past behind and moving forward as they kind of treat it like a new season, and because of that, new expectations have to be placed, especially now that they have games in hand. 13 matches for Atlanta under their belt so far is the fewest across MLS Next Pro, and they want to make sure that they really maximize those games because, as midfielder Javier Armas put it, now they're the ones with the pressure Atlanta United 2 are. If we don't win those 3 games, we're not going to be in the playoffs. So they're really trying to put a brand new set of expectations for a unit because they know with games in hand, they are not the ones that have anything to lose by pushing the pressure on the other teams going forward. This one's bobbled right around the midfield, no one able to keep it cleanly. As Atlanta plays it back to their netminder, Jaden Hibbert. 10 starts in 2025. He's only had 1 win across the previous 9. In the last time out, it was a back and forth affair against NYCFC to start June, as this pass goes out of play and will result in a Cincy throw-in. Mangione and Daly look for outlets. As Andre Chirilla gets one out of his own end. Hurtado cuts across. And out of play for a goal kick to Hibbert. Back unit for Atlanta includes one of the first teamers, Noah Cobb, the 19-year-old from Marietta. Starts the attack after the service from the Hibbert goal kick. Cobb back on. Cobb launches deep. It's a chance for Chong Ki, but out of range. Dominic Chong Ki unable to play the last handful of matches. He was out for 3 because he was with the USA U18s, makes his way back with Atlanta United 2. Same goes for many of the guys on Atlanta's lineup today, many of them missing extended periods of time, some of it with international duty, a couple guys out due to injury, and this is really their opportunity to get back into the swing of things, especially for Atlanta United 2, who have not been in game action in 29 days. You have to go back to June 11th in a 1-0 loss against Huntsville. That was over in Athens, where they played at Turner Soccer Complex. And it's really been a new challenge for not only Steve Cook, but his guys as well. As the turnover for Cincinnati starts the attack. Sliding across, Chavez. Edge of the area, up for grabs, it's Hibbert. Javier Armas, the captain, goes back towards Hibbert. Atlanta taking on the first early bit of possession. Chong Ki, met by Hurtado. Tablante assists back. Deep up the gut, too far for Tagashi. And that was a nice attempted play for the 31-year-old from New York City, Cayman Tagashi, who's been out for a a little over a month due to a partial meniscus tear that required surgery on his right knee. Last played in the tail end of May against Orlando. That was one of those home games that got rescheduled. Ben Augie on the strip after the 50-50 ball. Caicedo lays back Mangione. He comes back to his listed three-back for Ty Marshall that consists of Andre Chirilla, Amir Daly, and Noah Adnan. And a chance to go up the lane as he had a bit of an entanglement with Mazzaferro and with Adamar Chavez, but it will be a foul against Chavez. Trying to spring some things loose with Chavez. He's only in his second start in his first season MLS Next Pro, making his 7th appearance. He's playing in back-to-back games. He was making an appearance against NYC the last time that Cincinnati were out. That was his first appearance since early May in the game versus Chicago on the 9th. Adamar Chavez, the transfer in from the LAFC system. After 7 minutes into the match, Andre Chirilla, the new minutes leader on FC Cincinnati 2 as the minutes leader going into the match. It was Brian Schaefer. He's out. This was launched from deep but out of range. Brian Schaefer had 6 more minutes logged than his usual center back partner, Andre Chirilla. Over 1,300 minutes, as this actually took a deflection off of an Atlanta player, so be called for a corner. If we take a look. Yeah, it was the back pass right there that made that one go out of play. That was Armas. We've seen Armas many times go for the back pass. This time could be detrimental as Peter Mangione sets off the first corner for Cincinnati. Mangione ready to in-swing. Mangione serves, up for grabs. Settle, shot, took a deflection. Carson Locker took a swing that was off of an Atlanta defender. They'll take it back on the throw. Another look at the corner. You had a whole flurry of guys in the mix. And then Carson Locker, the follow-up, way to get in the way of the lane was Ronan Wynn. Hurtado using the arms to get this one to the area. Atlanta work it out as Sesak can't get away from Caicedo. .50-50 ball with Hurtado and Sanchez. Atlanta got it back with Cooper Sanchez. 20th match in MLS Next Pro across 3 seasons for the 17-year-old from Seattle, Cooper Sanchez, who makes the start in the midfield. Atlanta continue the cycle. Andre Chirilla back on it as his usual defensive partner in the center back, Brian Schaefer. He's going to be out at least 1 to 2 weeks with an MCL strain. This allows Chirilla to overtake the minutes leader with FC Cincinnati 2 as Caicedo has to stop on a dime. Locker centers, fires, blocked in front. Drawing the foul after the block was Sal Mazzaferro, and this will give Atlanta some breathing room. After 29 games without game action, Atlanta United still very much on the right mentality of things, already having blocked a couple of shots in the early 11 minutes of this match. Between the postponed games, a couple of bye weeks, their match versus Miami at the end of June, now being played in the beginning of August, has allowed for the 29-day hiatus for Atlanta United 2, and a lot of that was due to the planes in Miami being grounded en route. It was one of 2 games canceled that week as Atlanta ready to attack. Brennan cuts across, still alive, lays it back with a shot and just overhead. Crockford makes adjustments as Atlanta threatened for the first time as Luke Brennan cutting across, slipping and sliding through defenders, and Cooper Sanchez with the left foot able to get that one beyond the fingertips of Crockford, but could not get it within frame. That one last comes off of Mazzaferro. Another whistle from our lead official in the yellow, Sean Tahini. Ben Rigel, Jonathan Smith, the assistant referees, as Paige Bell is our 4th official. Mazzaferro continues the build-up. Tablante took contact. Tablante and Hurtado met, and right as Tablante made the cut was when Hurtado came in. For Atlanta United, they've also been unable to play at Fifth Third Bank Stadium due to a multitude of circumstances, whether that be games relocated, different home venues within the state of Georgia, and even one game that got delayed partway through and actually had to be moved to the Atlanta United indoor facility at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, playing with the MLS Stadium, and they had to actually resume that game against Inter Miami as a quick turnover for Shirilla. Doesn't get pushed on as Adnan makes the recovery. Tagashi tries to pressure on Mangione. This gives some possession to Atlanta. Curled into the area, out of range for Tagashi, out of play for a goal kick. Couple of turnovers from both sides. No one's really been able to maintain consistent possession, but when it has, a lot of it's gone towards FC Cincinnati, with right around 2/3 of the possession to the first quarter hour of the match. And for Cincinnati, it's been a lot of good as of late. 5 straight unbeaten. Of the 4 games they've gone to PKs, they've stolen not just the 1 point, but also the 2, as they have been perfect this season when going to extras. And a lot of that is just guys developing with the struggles and the diversity, were some of the notes that Ty Marshall made about his squad. Really focusing on the execution, the belief, and arguably the most importantly, between the belief and the sense of urgency they've really had over the last several weeks. Especially when, he put it very bluntly, when you're at the bottom, the only way to go is up. And especially because the results have fallen under their way, some of the guys have been banging on the door, finally busting through in terms of the statistical production side of things, and that has allowed some of his guys to drink the Kool-Aid a little more. But they have to look out. Tagashi's pursuing out of range as Noah Adnan was the roadblock towards Crockford. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Emory Healthcare. Push to the center circle. This allows Aji to turn on the Jets. Aji with Caicedo. Mangione. Amir Daly steps up. And it's given back to Tablante. Centers for Tagashi. Here goes Atlanta, coming across. Tagashi can't complete the pass as it's blocked off by Amir Daly. This back three for Atlanta with Noah Wayne, Sal Mazzaferro, a couple of the usual suspects with Atlanta cannot connect as Noah Cobb, the first teamer, and his defensive partner Mazzaferro not on the same page, especially with today being Noah Cobb's second match in MLS Next Pro in 2025. If you include his time last year, he is not close to double digits in MLS Next Pro, but has 32 appearances with the first team between this year and last. Noah Cobb starts as the left back in this three-back system for Steve Cook as Augie continues for Atlanta. Behind the back of the intended target, it's a chance to turn around for Armas. Tablante. Mazzaferro tries to get away from Chavez and plays it for Hibbert. Lots of rest, lots of recovery, and lots of chemistry building has been what Atlanta has been doing with their time off. And Javier Armas said that this break can definitely change your perspective a bit, especially when you calculate the overall table. They do sit at 14th to Atlanta at this point of the year, but with 13 matches played, they have those games in hand, and Armas put it very simply, if we can win those 3 games, we are right in the playoff discussion. And that 3 games in hand starts today with Cincinnati, who have been pursuing as well. A bit of a bobble, cannot chase Izikoba, and it's launched by Hibbert. And that's goal to goal. Armas. As Tablante, setting up Tagashi. Tagashi continues to fight through. Chong Ki tries to push through. Back from Mazzaferro. Nothing to speak of into the 20th minute, but it's a turnover. Cincy start the build up, Chavez. Chavez escaping Chong Ki, not for long, falls in his own 2 feet. This allows Armas to start for Atlanta. Whips it wide, Tagashi's alone. Brennan double teamed, but will win the throw-in after the push out. Coach Chavez with the final bit of contact as we approach 60, as we approach 20. It is going to be a scalding day as we are in the low 80s here in Kennesaw, Georgia. 86 at the moment. Slight chance of precipitation, and right now the chances are falling for Atlanta, as you also have a booking for Dylan Hurtado, who has been getting grimy all game long so far. Trying to plead his case to our center official, as you had Brennan trying to fight off Hurtado, and that was a 50-50 ball that goes in favor of Atlanta. So the yellow card will go against Hurtado. An opportunity for a stoppage for Atlanta. We saw Cincy take a corner earlier. A free kick for Javier Armas as him and Moises Tablante contemplate who serves.
Discipline in the pocket. Spaces for you and Pete.
Tablante and Armas. Tablante towards the box, blocked out. Sesak keeps it in play, and Hibbert will come out of his box.
I just out of step a little when we had a crowd come in. Let me know how that's looking. Stopping me there. I was just saying I was out of some up with the crowd coming in. I wanted to make sure cover still looks pretty good.
Hey, get behind Addy, come on!
Just be careful grabbing it. Give me 1 second. Just be
So I'm pretty
careful.
good.
This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Gallagher. Atlanta United, 13 matches.
Okay, appreciate it.
Start off the season, 2 wins, 5 losses, and 6 games have gone to PKs. The 14 points are second to last in the Eastern Conference, 14 out of 15, but they have extra games. This one's launched towards Tagashi again, really trying to spring him loose since returning to injury. He's able to keep in, but cannot maintain possession. Bit of contact from behind will go against Atlanta, as this is against Cooper Sanchez. This is that last bit of offensive opportunity from Atlanta, as they had Tagashi, who has been one of the top guys for Atlanta United too. Second on the team in goals, leading the way in assists so far this year. He's really been on a hot stretch as well, especially with the number of games he's played throughout his entire professional career on the precipice of 32 years of age after spending about 8 seasons in Japan with J1 and J2. Makes his way to the US in his first season with both Atlanta United and Atlanta United 2. As Atlanta continue to eat away at some of the possession that Cincy have accumulated in the early part of the game. Tablante in pursuit with Chonki, but it will be stopped. A little bit of that contact and stoppage right there with Chonki and Tablante en route. Sent along deep, Ikoba into the open area, but offside. For Atlanta, being a month off is something that Coach Cook has described as one of the most difficult stretches of his career as a player or a coach. Across his 56 years of age and over 40 years in the sport, he's never seen anything like it, and nothing can replicate it. And because of the time off, there's going to be a lot of strain and stress on the guys themselves. There's going to be fatigue potentially playing a factor because they just haven't had that game action. He compared it to feeling like a preseason week in terms of where you are in the season after that lengthy hiatus. Lots of travel, even on listed home games. with Kennesaw State's field not being available, planes grounded in Miami. He said this game is going to feel a lot like week 1 in the preseason. It's all about how to adapt to the unknown after all that time off and no ramp-up period. But they've fared relatively well so far. Just kept in Tagashi, but Ty Marshall making the argument he was out of play, and the officiating crew will agree. Came in Tagashi on an island with Andre Chirilla. Chongki fights it back for Tagashi. Drag down Mangione. Armas. Widens for Sesak. Win looking for Brennan, cannot get behind the defender. It's a chance to charge up Caicedo with Ikoba and Aji the other side. Caicedo works on Win. Win dragged down into the area, and that will be a foul on the offensive side of things for York IF Caicedo. Caicedo able to get the strip on Luke Brennan, and he really starts the attack. And he did have Wayne tossing and turning for those first couple of opportunities, but right on those last couple of touches, Wynn got back onto position before the takedown in the area. That's a 1v1 we could probably expect on that far side of the pitch for a good chunk of this first half, and even further. York IF Caicedo, the 19-year-old from Ecuador in his first season MLS Next Pro. Ronan Wynn in his first season after spending the last 4 with the University of Denver, where he was selected in the second round in this last year's Super Draft. Armas and Wynn. Approaching the half an hour, still no goals. Mazzuffero. Chongki makes a man miss. He's got Tablante. Centers. Blocked away. Throw in favoring Atlanta. FC Cincinnati across their first 15 matches, 2-7-6. And those 18 points are good for 11th in the Eastern Conference. However, after the last 5 games where they've accumulated wins, either in regulation or in the PKs, they are now 4 points behind the number 8 seed in NYCFC, who they beat the last time out in the PKs, and a lot of that going to their first team hero in Evan Laurel, as Caicedo picks it up. Chavez can't get around the man Sesak, and we will go towards a quick break for hydration. So 31 minutes in, Still zeros on the board, and it's been a lot of back and forth in this early portion of the match. Some of that just due to aggressive defense and a lot of these teams really playing scrappy up against each other, but also you might be seeing a little bit of the rust hitting for Atlanta United, and maybe the number of new additions in FC Cincinnati's lineup, not necessarily the chemistry being there because they haven't had that familiarity, has resulted in a lot of opportunities given up to both sides, with Atlanta giving things up to Cincinnati, Cincinnati with a couple turnovers, threatening things for Nate Crockford on the other end. It has really been a lot of that kind of test of wills over time, especially in the first half an hour. Atlanta has no ramp-up period, so the rust is expected from Atlanta. For Cincinnati, they just haven't had the same chemistry, with 7 changes from their game against NYCFC with a whole bunch of academy guys. And we've really seen this throughout the first 31 minutes of play as we look at some of the action from throughout the game. As you've really seen a lot of these guys, it's a little bit of the rust as you've seen some of these passes go out for throw-ins, just bad bounces, just kind of getting into a jumble. A lot of them in Atlanta, and nothing really on their fault. A lot of that just, they haven't been in game action for that long, and when you've been out of play for a month, that's just what's going to happen. For FC Cincinnati, 10 academy products on their side, 7 changes from the match against NYCFC. You don't have some of the usual suspects that you would expect from FCC2. And for the Blue and Orange, they've really been able to not really maximize their opportunities, but it's been relatively short in those stretches, as you have seen. Just some of those passes out of range, allowing things to go the other way for Atlanta, and Atlanta the exact opposite as well. Just a little too quick on some decisions, maybe a little bit of those game speed jitters getting into the way. And that was another point that was actually mentioned when we got a chance to speak with some of the guys from Atlanta United too. Really talking about how this is going to be a cagey tight match between FC Cincinnati 2, how there's going to be a lot of rust to be expected for Javier Armas. He really talked about trying to be the aggressors in today's match, especially against a team in FC Cincinnati who are in a very similar spot as Atlanta in a way. Outside of the playoffs, looking in, trying to get every single point they can scrape together to get above the number 8 slot. And for Cincinnati, you weren't necessarily sure to start off those first 3 months what went wrong. They were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference a year ago, and they started at the beginning of June, last in the conference. But they really picked things up as of late, and now they have a real chance to threaten NYC in that number 8 slot currently, only 4 points above where Cincy currently lies. And for Atlanta, they're looking to make their first playoffs as a second squad in their history across the USL Championship and across MLS NEXT Pro. The furthest they've ever seeded was 7th. That was the only time they've ranked above 10th in the conference. That was back in 2021 in the USL Championship. Yet to make a playoff in NEXT Pro or the USL Championship, and they know with the games in hand, they can really push the pace on some of the teams, maybe not in the short term, but in the long run, they know that they can creep up on teams, especially if they take care of business every time that they're out. As we are back in business after the hydration break, still zeros across the board with another 10 minutes, most likely plus with stoppage, to go in the first half. As Amir Daly settles down, launches deep, undershot Hurtado. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Adidas. Headed down in the area, out of reach of Chavez. Daly. Tablante looks to set up Brennan. Chonky and Sanchez win it back for Atlanta. Only 3 total shots to this point. Neither have seriously contested either Jaden Hibbert or Nate Crockford. It's 2 shots Cincy, 1 shot Atlanta, 0 in the entire game have been on frame. Moises Tablante out of range for Tagashi. Locker blocked up. And overall, with the second team side of things, Atlanta very much pleased as an organization of where they've gone in the development side of things, especially in the last month with the MLS Next Cup. Brennan charges ahead and gets taken down. Another free kick upcoming for Atlanta. He goes quick, centers for Tablante. Cobb takes his man down, and it will be on the other direction as Ikoba hits the deck. A nice move there by Luke Brennan as he kind of went face first on the plant on Caicedo. And then you had the foul the other way for Cincinnati. But for Atlanta United, they're under 15s and under 16s with excellent performances in the MLS Next Cup throughout June, where both the U15s and the U16s made it all the way to the finals over in Tennessee. And it just speaks to the overall development of Atlanta, especially with the academy development model. But they'll have to look out. Peter Mangione scored his first goal of the season against NYC. Splits it out wide, Caicedo. Caicedo looks towards Mangione. Caicedo serves, blocked by the Five Stripes. Moises Tablante spent last year with Cincinnati, just coming off of his 24th birthday as Tagashi sprints ahead, waits for help. Brennan. And Sanchez continued to work around. Atlanta working with 70% of the possession to this point as it's held on by Atlanta. Attempted cross is blocked. Armas from range, punched out by Crockford. Chavez can't beat out Wynn as that will dribble out of play. Sanchez. Back from Tablante. Final 5 minutes of the opening half. No one's broken through yet. It took about 38 minutes for there to finally be the first shot on target. And a turnaround as Mangione starts it for Augie. Augie, Ikoba's alone. Ikoba fires an overhead. That one is out of here, maybe inches from the freeway, as it'll be sent out by Hibbert. So since the hydration break, both teams have been able to get their opportunities on both ends. This is the first one for Atlanta as Javier Armas from distance got the first shot on target all game in the 38th minute. And we talked about some of the potential rust of Atlanta, potentially spilling issues, and Augie making the most of it as Ikoba launched that one deep. As a bit of an overplay by Daly gives room to Tablante. Tablante across, blocked off, no second chance for Atlanta. A touch from Ikoba to Mazzaferro. Backheel attempt for Tagashi, attempted for Brennan, stripped away Sanchez. And a nice diving block by Daly to disrupt. Back on for Brennan, into the area. Brennan across, header off the bar. Second try, Armas fakes, delays, takes overhead. Two glorious chances for Atlanta, still stuck at 0. The turnover taken away by Cooper Sanchez. The block by Daly looked like it could have been the end of it, but Brennan keeps on. And the cross by Brennan gets to Tablante on the header, kisses the crossbar, and then Armas got the first shot on goal, but couldn't bury the second. As the goal kick from Crockford is loose. Cautions from Mazzaferro as he got a little handsy with Ikoba on that 50-50 header. For FC Cincinnati, this is the second of 3 matches within an 8-day stretch. He played against NYC earlier in the week on Sunday. Today's game on a Wednesday before going back to headed into the box, loose, header is blocked, cleared away. Cincy clamoring for a handball, but throw-in is what will be the result instead. The service by Mangione. Hibbert a little bit in no man's land as they're arguing maybe the handball on the Atlanta player in front, Noah Cobb, but looks like they're arguing it was against the body, which is the cause for the non-call in the box that everyone in the blue and white kit were clamoring for. Chucked in deep, up for grabs. Mazzaferro cleared out to Tablante, still alive for Daly. Nice touch by Brennan to set up Tagashi. Tagashi chopped down and a yellow for Atlanta. Atlanta against Cincinnati, Atlanta win the foul.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of added time here.
So that's a second yellow card given against the Cincinnati defense. As we already had one on Dylan Hurtado, this one comes on to the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So Yorka F. Casedo gets the
number 77.
second yellow of the match, as we have an extra 3 minutes of stoppage in the first half. It's a Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday sandwich for Cincinnati between their last match back at NKU against NYC and the one they have upcoming on Sunday against Huntsville. As we're 1 minute into 3. Two for Ikoba. This is back for win. Brennan, the fifth-year man, in his first game action since the middle of May in that non-home game against Crown Legacy. He's been with the USA U20s throughout the duration of June. And he's back in action for the fifth-year forward. Sanchez setting up Sesak deep, too much. Offside was Ikoba before coming back on the header. And that whistle will do it for the first half of play. Zeros across the board after 45 minutes. Halftime highlights and stats upcoming. But first, his name's been in Charlotte on the roster, on the announcement for the MLS All-Stars, and even in the Gold Cup roster with the USA men's national team. Introducing forward Patrick Ajamong in 2023 as a full-time member of Crown Legacy, scoring 10 goals in 11 matches before getting his full-time status with Charlotte FC. We get a chance to know Ajamong and visit him in the Queen City.
Thing is, I'm just a better driver than y'all. That's it. Simple as that.
It's my first time, so don't get it twisted.
My thing is, if you know how to drive, you should be able to do it.
Pat_AGYY in the building.
You really Amen Hamilton.
Amen Hamilton is so corny.
We just started saying like, yo, we're kind of like boys and not really like brothers anymore. It's like, y'all like my boys. Like, we hang out all the time. We do things all the time, and it's not really like, this is my brother. It's like, oh, these are my dogs. You know what I'm saying?
You're like this? Oh, nah. Look at my head, bro.
I just need the biggest helmet. The biggest helmet.
You might look goofier than me, though, right?
We go to probably look the same.
I
Yeah.
look way better though.
I'm on cam. I'm on cam.
Yo, you need a 5XL with your noggin.
You wish.
Enoch is more outgoing. I feel like E-Man kind of likes to be relaxed, chill in the background a little bit sometimes, and when he's up for it, then he's out there, you know? I think I kind of mix and match my personalities off them as well. It's cool because when we're all together, like, we don't need anything. Like, you could just literally talk and we would just be laughing the whole time, and we would just like go outside and say one-on-one, let's go, like who's the best at what, and we would do that all the time. If I lose, I'm telling you, everyone knows, and if I win, everyone knows as well. But no matter what, we had each other's back, and we know we love each other, and that's the main thing.
I got scared for my life. Yo. Oh my gosh. Some of these guys are F1 racers, I feel like. Got me looking goofy, but it's okay. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. People don't know I was a winger though, for real, man. Like, I used to dice you up. This guy right here, chopped him up so many times. Him too, same thing.
No, you didn't.
You know better, bro. You know better.
So we all played together growing up, of course. And 1v1.
You know better.
1v1?
1v1. Every day of the week.
No,
I win.
The thing is, Pat, honestly, now I would say yes. Because
No, then too.
Now, I would say it. Before, hand to your chest and it's good.
Bro, I don't know why people
That's
lie,
it.
man. It's not good to lie, man.
telling
Just
you.
be honest. Every day of the week.
It wasn't every day of the week. I remember when we played indoor in Oakwood. I was locking
That was
you up.
one day,
I was
bro.
locking you up. Remember
I was
that?
tired.
No, you wasn't.
I had a headache.
No, you wasn't.
I had a headache.
Telling you, man.
I had a headache that day. So it's
I
different.
remember it vividly too. I was locking you up.
My dad and my mom, they're Ghanaian, so ultimately they're strict. They want us to do the right things, but they're like our best friends as well. You know, they always wanted to make sure we were happy, and we never questioned our mom if she was gonna do something for us. Our dad, like, we knew if we needed something, they were gonna be the first to do it. I give them all praise because it's not easy. 3 of us brothers are 2 years older than me, and they had to take care of us constantly while working multiple jobs, while paying mortgage and all these things, while getting ready to pay for our school as well. And they never complained about it ever. Like, no, they were just like, we know what you guys are gonna do for us. We want to make sure you guys are good. We want you guys to have a better life than we're having for you guys, and we always try to do as much as we can for them.
Yeah.
As I started growing and like I got into like my teen years, there was a specific day we were at a tournament. It's called like Nutmegs tournament, and I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like I said, if I could do this forever, I'll do it forever, you know. So that's when I knew I wanted to play professional. But obviously, as kids, everyone says they want to play professional. But I really knew, like, deep in my heart, I said, this is exactly what I want to do. High school, it was like crazy ups and downs. I didn't get varsity till my junior year of high school. And then I was like, shoot, this is actually hard. You know, like I was like, am I good enough? I'm like doubting myself. And it's just like, dang, am I behind? Like that's a big thing I kept saying. But I knew, you know, I always say like I had my faith and I trusted in the Lord that like as long as I continue having that faith, like all these things would come to pass. When it comes to college and the route to putting yourself out there, I had no idea how to do that. I only had 2 offers, and that was St. Joseph's and Eastern Connecticut. So I said, all right, I'll pick Eastern because I felt like that was where I wanted to go. I felt like that was the best suited for me. So I said, cool, committed. Now this is where the work starts, you know, this is where the journey goes. My sophomore and his junior year is probably one of my favorite soccer seasons. All we remember is just enjoying. It just felt like the team was such a close-knit, and I excelled, he excelled, the team excelled. For me, I think that was the kind of curve when I realized, Pat, you could actually do this. I realized like this isn't really like a dream anymore. It's more like this could be something that's attainable. And then boom, one day, E-Man we lived in the same suite at the time. He's getting ready to leave and I get a phone call and it's like the University of Rhode Island coach, and he just like told me like he's gonna offer me, and literally I transferred like a month after that to Rhode Island, and I struggled. I didn't want to be there that year. I wanted to come back home. Like I told him every day, I was like, bro, I don't think I can do this, you know. But I'm a guy that always say like keep going. My dad always tells me keep going. Mom says keep going no matter what. I just pushed through it and went into my junior year at Rhode Island, and I just exploded. Next thing you know, agent reached out. My agent now, he like, oh, you want to meet up for coffee? Of course. So we met up, and he just said, I think you have a chance for the combine. I said, the combine? Now I got to show who I am, and I was able to do so. Played well. Agent was like, Pat, I think you done it. I said, let's hope. I'm just praying, my family praying, everybody's praying. draft day comes, and I just heard him say like a forward from road, and I put my head down and I was just like, I can't believe it. Everyone's screaming, and it was surreal, man. Like, to be in that position and realize like what I've done with all these people around me, and to be in that position to get drafted, to potentially come as a professional soccer player, it was crazy, and I knew I would cherish that moment.
On the Queen City as Charlotte begin in their home blue and white. Ajiman and Malanda lurking, whipped right in, consternation, and they do just that. Back on level terms, this time Charlotte.
Whenever my family comes in, like, I always want to celebrate with them, and so I always point at them. I don't know if they pointed back, but yeah, those are my guys, man. Like, those are my day ones, you know.
Zaha. Lovely reverse ball. And full time arrives. A much needed victory for Charlotte. It was a blockbuster tonight at the bank.
You know, sometimes when you go into games, you just feel like it's gonna be a good day, and it's one of those where you love those moments because you know you're in flow state, and I feel like I was in that a lot last night, and obviously it showed in the game.
And then you knock out
Ma, what's up?
Not much, son, and you?
Yeah, not much. Yeah, you watch the game?
When I get home, I'm gonna take my time and watch the game. You don't know. Yesterday I couldn't sleep. When they call one, I'm like, let me go upstairs, turn off the TV and go upstairs. Downstairs. And then I went to YouTube. I'm like, Patrick. I watch a little bit.
This is my #1 supporter right here. Ma, look. Say hi.
Hello.
Okay, I'll call you after, okay?
Okay, my dear.
All right, love you. Yeah.
I'm happy you are happy.
Thank you, ma. Love you. Yep, bye.
Este verano, el centro del fútbol mundial está aquí. Los mejores del mundo. El deporte mundial en tu propio rincón. 4 grandes eventos. Un verano como ningún otro. Para aprender más, visite mlssoccer.com/summer.
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
it's dominance on the line.
Action.
MLS debutant Kevin Sullivan.
Luna.
spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
We return here for Fifth Third Bank Stadium, where Atlanta United 2 and FC Cincinnati 2 yet to get a goal on the board, but that's not without any action with 8 shots so far in the match. However, both Jaden Hibberts and Nate Crockford have been perfect through 45 minutes of play as we take a look back at the highlights through the first half as we go through the first 45 minutes. And it's been a lot of opportunities for both sides. For Atlanta, they've had their moments where they look rusty, they look like they haven't played in a month. And then you have moments like this where you're finding ways to create offense, utilizing the first team guys that you have at your disposal. Luke Brennan's been all over the place for Atlanta United too, in terms of generating fouls, getting crosses in, setting guys up to take opportunities and take shots. And you've seen that throughout the entirety of the game, and those wide areas have been a lot of what Atlanta's been trying to utilize, especially towards a guy like Javier Armas, who has absolute power in his legs, but hasn't been able to bury anything so far. And for Cincinnati, they've continued to put the pressure on Atlanta, maximizing the game experience they've had as of late to utilize some of the miscues of Atlanta throughout the game, and maybe some of the high intensity of some of the games they've had of recently have gotten into Cincinnati as well, because they've given up a chance as well. This is the golden one that never went through, with Moises Tablante getting the header off of the bar, Armas swimming through a couple defenders and just skies it. And you've seen both teams maximizing their opportunities to really drive something. This was the one that probably was going to continue to be controversial across Cincinnati. That header on that back post, clamoring for a handball, nothing was given. And you've seen a little bit of the impact, the return of Keiman Tagashi as well. As we take a look back at the center pitch and our halftime stats, 8 total shots, only 1 on target per squad. A lot of the control has been towards Atlanta. However, for the ATL, they haven't really used a lot of it to maybe try to push the offense a little bit. Sometimes they're trying to make Cincinnati come up a little bit, trying to force Cincy to really push their attackers upwards, so that way there is more space in behind to maybe create a little something, especially when you consider that Atlanta's been utilizing a lot of the wide side going in stuff. For Cincinnati, they've been trying to pass their way kind of very, up the field and really trying to work slowly but surely, especially with some of the runs of some of the guys that they've had, really trying to utilize that wide open space down the middle. As we also take a look at our schedule in the week, 2 more games coming up later in the week on Friday, with St. Louis City and the New York Red Bulls playing it out for that #1 overall spot across all of MLS Next Pro. And Sunday, it is an absolute mishmash of games. FC Cincinnati is going to be hosting Huntsville for their 3rd game in an 8-day stretch. Atlanta United, they're going to make the most out of their time back at Fifth Third Bank Stadium, who is going to be playing the other team in Ohio, Columbus Crew 2, who are currently dealing with some issues of their own. Keep in mind as well, the Atlanta United 2 and Columbus Crew 2 game, you'll be seeing us and the rest of our crew with the coverage at 7:30 Eastern on Sunday night. We make our way back towards the center pitch, where FC Cincinnati will start the second half with the ball. They're in the white with blue stripes. Right to left, they will go for the second half. For Atlanta, it's the traditional 5 stripes, black and red, left to right for the second half as we start the second set of 45. Ryan Lee and the rest of our MLS Next Pro crew here in Kennesaw, Georgia, where it is a 82-degree day in Kennesaw, which will match the heat and intensity of this game so far. And with the break, Steve Cook decided to utilize his 2 subs, getting Rodrigo Neri and Caden Moore into the game, as the 2 first-teamers, Noah Cobb and Luke Brennan, are going to be done for the rest of this match. And for both Brennan and Cobb, they said that there were going to be some first-team guys on the roster, some of them trying to get minutes and opportunities to play. And this brings way for the leading goal scorer for Atlanta United 2 and Rodrigo Neri. And Caden Moore who's one of the academy products, one of the many academy products for Atlanta in today's roster, as we have a takedown favoring Philly. That's Yorgaev Caicedo getting up very slowly. Caicedo just took a bit of a bump from Tablante from behind. Caicedo. Attempted back heel by RG, disrupted. Tablante unable to turn around, and this will go in favor of Atlanta. So Neary for Brennan, Moore for Cobb is the substitution at halftime. Keith Moore making his 20th appearance in MLS Next Pro. Has not played since the final match of May against Orlando City. Due to him being a part of the U18s and spending some time on duty. As this will be Tablante. He received a foul and now he's the one who gives it up. Off of the service from Jaden Hibbert, and you saw the diving attempt made and just a bit of hip on hip off of Adnan. Mangione to serve. High ball, headed down, held on by Hibbert. Mangione's been serving things up on all these stoppages and potentially trying to find Andre Chirilla down the middle, but pass was not able to get there. As Hibbert's been so sharp, probably one of the most experienced goaltending mentors you could probably have across the MLS, in Brad Guzan, who he's backed up the last couple of matches on the MLS side of things with the first team. Foul against Atlanta. That was one that RG was arguing against. RG was potentially arguing that was ball, but our head official, Sean Tahini, says otherwise. With the assistant referees, Ben Rigel and Jonathan Smith. Paige Bell is the fourth official. Cincinnati takes it back. Attempted to give it back to Carson Locker, but out of range. Neary grapples Chirilla and the foul. A little bit of grappling between the two with Chirilla and Neary. They're both grabbing each other a little bit, but Neary's the one who will get the whistle drawn against him. 19-year-old from Miami has had himself quite a second season with Atlanta United too, since coming from the U19s with Valencia in Spain. 25 matches across 19 starts, and he's already had himself a career season in 2025. He had 3 goals and an assist on 12 matches last year. He's got 4 goals on an assist on 13 games this year. Already in an increased role, and the increased production has followed as well for Neary, as he comes on as a second half substitute, flanking Cayman Tagashi with Moises Tablante. Strip for Atlanta, Armas. Chong Ki fans out to Tagashi. Tagashi hesitates. Can't connect to Armas at the top of the box. Chavez settles. Turned away, Rodrigo Neri. Elevates for Tablante, can't connect. Ty Marshall said that a lot of what his squad has done to really elevate their play is just to utilize the play that they see in front of them. And especially because, especially with a team like Atlanta, you have to maintain defensively organized throughout, and they've had a lot of guys who have been knocking on the door to get goals past the keeper, or even just taking opportunities. But as the games go along, as the season goes along, they have only been getting better as time comes along. A lot of that has just been due to a mixture of mindset and a bit of execution sprinkled in as well. However, they haven't executed yet so far in 53 minutes, as we're still stuck at 0. Tablante's got Sesak. Sanchez and Arma center the midfield. Moises Tablante, the only player on Atlanta to start all 13 of Atlanta's matches in 2025, after spending last year with FC Cincinnati and the 3 previous to that with Orlando City B, spent in both Next Pro and USL League One. Sesak returns to Tablante. This one sent to the middle, headed by Tagashi, and it's up for Crockford after taking deflection off a defender. This is a nice service here by Moises Tablante, and this actually didn't go off of Chirillo. That went off his own man Neri into the hands of Crockford. But he'll be in no rush to send this one away. Header falls for Cayman Tagashi, has Neri. The bouncer cannot connect to Neri, so this goes out of play for a Crockford goal kick. Tagashi and Neri looking to connect. They haven't played very many games together, with Neri kind of catching his bearings in the early portion of the season, and Tagashi being out for a month due to a knee injury has not allowed them to really maximize the time they've had together. Tagashi, only 6 matches this season going into today. But both Tagashi and Neri, they know how to produce. But it comes to the back line of Atlanta, where Hibbert was looking for the deep try by Neri. And Andre Chirillas has really been in Neri's face a lot so far in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Did you see some of the adjustments made by Steve Cook? 70 games across his 3 seasons in MLS Next Pro. These two have played once before in this season. That was back in the tail end of April. That was back at NKU Soccer Stadium, where It was scoreless after 90 minutes. Cincinnati took the spare point when it came to the PK shootout. These two are 500 against each other, at least in terms of the regulation standings, 1-1-2 across 4 matches played. But if you take those shootouts into account across their head-to-head, Cincy have claimed them both. As the lights turn on, as the sun sets in the ATL. Adnan and Chirillo fight for it. Adnan and Neri fight for it, pardon, but it's back towards Cincinnati. Ikoba. Nice intervention by Mazzaferro to take it back for Atlanta. This is only the 4th match that Atlanta United are playing at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. As Kagashi flips it for Sesak. Tablante, up top, Armas. Sanchez can't find Sesak. As Caden Moore makes his first couple of touches since entering at the half. Strip made by Cooper Sanchez. He's been everywhere in this game so far as he flips it to Sesak. Sesak curves it, can't get it through as Amir Daly intervenes. Chong Ki, nice interception from behind by Chavez. He clears right back to Atlanta. Moore keeps it in the half. Win. Sesak. Armas keeps it in play as you have Tablante still on his feet. Atlanta off for a month, 29 days without playing a game. A couple of bye weeks and a postponed game against Inter Miami. As this is a lane for Sesak, finding centrally, but the disruption made by Noah Adnan to prevent the cross from coming through. But this will be a corner for Atlanta, their first. Sesak was able to get away from Caicedo, and the blocking slide by Adnan prevented Neri from finding the ball all by himself in the center of the box. This is the first corner for Atlanta as we approach the hour. Driven into the box, headed out, still alive. Armas. Back on the near wing, Tablante. Sanchez. Sanchez, service, up for grabs. Tablante, bouncer, up in the air. And it's Crockford with the grab. A couple of tries for Atlanta right at the hour mark, and they've had some good services. They just haven't fallen. Tablante attempted the volley. It bounced on him a little bit before Crockford gets the final save in the end. And the defensive unit for Cincinnati just trying to get out of their own end. As that goes for a Cincy throw off the foot of Dylan Hurtado. This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Emory Healthcare. Back-to-back whistles favoring Cincy. having come off of a 5-game winning streak, including 4 off of PKs. Their last 3 games have all been PK wins. In Chattanooga, in New Jersey against the Red Bulls, and their last game back at home against NYCFC. But they are 4 points away from the aforementioned New York City for the number 8 slot in the Eastern Conference. Mangione. Rainbows just towards the box, but it's Jaden Hibbert. Atlanta United has only played 3 games at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. It's been 78 days since their last game here, which was on April 23rd in a PK win against Carolina Core, as this one's launched right into the stands and will favor Atlanta. Deep ball attempted for Sesak, back for Cincy. For Atlanta, they've lost their last 3 prior to the hiatus. They actually set 4 points behind Cincy in the standings, but they attempt the attack. Mangione splits out. Ikoba across. Can't connect the other end. You had Augie and Mangione, but split the difference. Caden Moore keeps it in play, back for Atlanta United 2. Look back at the last little 3-on-2 for Cincinnati with Mangione, Augie, and Ikoba. Ikoba had Hibbert beat if he chose to take the shot. Instead wanted to come across for Mangione and Augie, but nothing was there. Ikoba, he's been hot in recent form. He had 1 goal and an assist in that 3-3 draw against the Red Bulls a couple weeks ago. Chose to do the unselfish move for Ikoba, the first-year man with Cincinnati after spending the last 3 with the Portland Timbers organization. Mazzaferro can't get away from Ikoba. Moore and Sanchez set up Tagashi. Tagashi lost his footing, so it's taken back by Chirilla. Assisted with Augie. Augie scraps with Moore, but Moore will win the ball back to Hibbert. As we have a whistle away from the penalty area, that's Ben Augie, who was a little slow to get up. And you also have another Cincy player down way back behind the play as well. This will give an opportunity for both teams to reset things. After 20 minutes into the second half, Carson Locker, the man down. They are calling on to the medical staff, even though Locker is back on his feet. The 17-year-old, a part of the Cincinnati Academy after spending the last 3 seasons with St. Louis City's organization as a part of that inaugural roster with CD2. 26 matches played for Locker, 12 in 2025, back on his feet with the medical staff. And this will give both Steve Cook and Ty Marshall to reconvene. We have yet to see Ty Marshall utilize any of his subs so far. Steve Cook had 2 right at the halftime break. Who knows if maybe this wiggle back from Locker may force a substitution by Coach Marshall. And this will be the substitution, the first one of the game for FC Cincinnati 2. Carson Locker makes his way onto the bench as Ben Manfroy comes into the match at the 68th minute.
Number 63, Carson Locker.
Ben Manfroy, the 18-year-old from Cincinnati's academy, playing in 2 games this season, his first season, both of them in June. And the last time that we've seen Ben Manfroy on the pitch was midway through June. That was against New England Revolution after making his debut the week prior against Toronto.
Exiting the match, number 8, Moises Tablante. Entering the match, number 36, Ryan Carmichael.
And a second substitution made as well, this one by Coach Cook. Ryan Carmichael enters the game for Moises Tablante, the ex-Cincinnati man. And Carmichael, the 23-year-old, he's making his 14th appearance of the season, 38 across his 2 seasons in MLS Next Pro, where he entered the league with Inter Miami 2 a year ago, being drafted number 24 overall in the 2024 MLS Super Draft. Neri sets up Sesak. Sesak's at Carmichael alongside. Sesak, Carmichael. And after losing his footing, Carmichael gets it off of the defender and wins the corner for Atlanta. Way to recover off of that last play for Ryan Carmichael. Wins the corner for Atlanta. This will be their second. Both of them coming after the hour. With Tablante on the bench, this is Javier Armas to serve. Headed up, top of the box, Sanchez winds up and over! What a shot by Cooper Sanchez, looking for his first goal in MLS Next Pro. The header just falls to Sanchez at the top of the box, left-footed, absolutely beaming to that top left corner, but cannot convert as we're 20 minutes from the end of regulation. Chavez attempted to scoop it towards Ikoba, but he's interrupted by Chong Ki. Dominic Chong Ki making his 25th appearance in MLS Next Pro across 2 seasons with Atlanta, coming from the academy. Flips it around left to right, Sesak. We're still in a similar predicament as we were in the first half. Both teams have been getting their opportunities, but none have been within frame. 11 total shots, only 2 on target. This one sent in deep and wide. The only question is that a goal kick or that's a throw in? The assistant referee indicating a throw. A takedown by Manfroy, and he will get the book as well. Manfroy just overreached and got a little bit of the lower leg of Ryan Carmichael. So that'll be Manfroy getting his first ever yellow card. And we also might have some preparations on deck as Aiden Torres stands alongside the fourth official, but it's not happening yet. Armas took a swipe, Neri with a save, second try, up for grabs. Hurtado settles. He gets the clearance. A lane for Chavez. Chavez controls, loses control, down on the ground. Sanchez with the yellow. It was a nice service by Armas on Neri. It forced the save by Crockford, but then the turnaround try the other way is what got things started for Cincinnati 2. Chavez just lost control, a little bit of a shove from Sanchez, and good news for Steve Cook. The yellow card for Cooper Sanchez will go onto the bench as he is subbed off for Aiden Torres. Torres, the 17-year-old from Silver Spring, Maryland, a part of the Atlanta Academy. In his third season with Atlanta United 2. He subs into the game as Mangione ready to serve after the yellow card from Sanchez. Mangione, service, headed up, settled down. A chance for Manfroy into the hands of Hibbert. Win, line drive, Carmichael. Bodied off the ball is Carmichael. Aji holds as he waits for help. Aji left it for Caicedo. Aji and Caicedo back and forth. Back towards the back line with Adnan, Shurilla, and Daly. Noah Adnan, Manfroy. Amir Daly coming off a couple of matches with Antigua and Barbuda as a part of the World Cup qualifiers, getting his first caps with the nation in 2025. As he steps into the play, they cannot get on the same page, however, but it does deflect off a defender for Atlanta. Corner for Cincy. This is their first of the half, second of the game. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Gallagher.
Still got me there.
Peter Mangione gets ready. 75th minute. Mangione, service, out of play. And as we are just past the half-an-hour mark into the second half, we will have the hydration break of the second half of this match between Atlanta United 2 and between FC Cincinnati 2. Still perfect are Jaden Hibbert and Nate Crockford. as they have been stellar so far in this game, really trying to force the issue quite a bit. And while we have the quick stoppage in play, I want to take a quick moment to shout out some of the members of our crew. Jenny Norena and Josh Caballos are the two on our audio and replays, but probably most importantly, the man running the whole show, Zach Macer, making his MLS Next Pro debut in the producer's chair. We want to thank him for all the hard work he's done in keeping our show running smoothly. He's making his MLS Next Pro debut, as are many of the guys potentially urgently waiting on the sideline, including Luke Braz, the backup goalie for Crockford, and many guys who only have one MLS Next Pro game, or even two, some of them, on their resumes so far. On the Cincinnati bench, you have guys like Ali Soccer, Connor Stout, and Jared Cardenas. Both Soccer and Stout both have one match in the season. Cardenas has 2 in the season. Brendan Christel's got 3 matches across his MLS Next Pro career. So if Ty Marshall does want to go to the bench, he's going to rely on a lot of young guys coming on the bench. And for Steve Cook, he's got a lot of experienced guys on his bench. Tota Majoub, the only one with a low game count with 1 in his Next Pro career. As a substitution comes up with Patrick Weah entering the match, we take a look back at the first 75 minutes of this match between Atlanta United 2 and FC Cincinnati 2. Chances galore, but nothing to bury. As this is on the top of the area, the bouncer by Tablante was deflected up and over. You can almost undisputedly argue that there have been better chances in the second half. The big difference is they just haven't been coming through. Ikoba tries to go with the unselfish play of the pass instead of the put through, and Cooper Sanchez just letting this rocket rip. He might have glanced at crossbar actually. And then the service here by Armas hit Neri, forcing another save from Nate Crawford and Mangione right before the hydration break. The opportunity by Manfroy was denied by Jaden Hibbert as the ball is right back into play, and the last decision was a goal kick after the corner. So right at the hydration break, Patrick Weah entered the game for Cayman Tagashi. He's probably not ready to play the full 90 yet after a month off with a meniscus surgery. So this allows the 21-year-old from Liberia, Patrick Weah, to come in for his 10th appearance of the season, getting his first start the last time out against Huntsville. The deflection off the Cincy defender gives Atlanta another corner. This is their 3rd, all in the second half. Low drive, Weah with a touch, Armas back on, stolen by Caicedo, stumbling to keep it in, and this allows Atlanta to get back on. And there was one more sub in that last little sequence as well. Brandon Christel for his only 4th match of the 2025 season. The 17-year-old from the Cincinnati Academy. This is the 2nd season with the club, but he did not play in 2024. He had 2 matches in June. The last 2 matches of the month of June between New England and the Red Bulls after making his debut back in March against the Chicago Fire. Here is Christel. A bit of a bobble from Cincinnati. We'll take possession back as we're still stuck at 0 at 80 minutes. 10 minutes to go in regulation. At this point, if anything does break through, it might be the golden goal. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Adidas. Settle down, Neri gives it a drive. It's a foot race, but Weah's way too far, and it dribbles right to Crockford. The first 2 starts in MLS Next Pro for Nate Crockford were losses, but since he's had his last 2 starts result in going all the way in PKs, both against Toronto and against Chattanooga in the first 3 weeks of June. And I say that he's played his first matches in MLS Next Pro because last year he was a part of the DC United organization, where DC does not have an MLS Next Pro affiliate, where he was a 3rd rounder for DC in 2024 in the draft. Adnan wins the ball back towards Christel. Back to Brandon Crystal. Can't get it through as Neri tumbles on his own feet. Crystal with the strip. Crystal from range, blocked in front. That was Aiden Torres getting his body in there. Chipped into the box, headed out of play. Trying to utilize the gargantuan frame of 21-year-old Tegai Kobat, 6'4", 198, to body off his defender. He split Win and Mazzaferro, where he had a 3-inch advantage on Mazzaferro and a 6-inch advantage on Win. Hibbert sends it. Chong Ki can't get it down. Torres maintains for Atlanta. Driven out top side to Sessa. Armas. Patrick Weah. Torres scoops it along for Sessa. He races to keep it in play. Gets around Caicedo. Here's Sesak. Service right to Crockford. This was a nice little flip here by Atlanta. They've been really trying to get these plays in wide, and that's something that Coach Marshall said they really had to be careful of if they wanted to go toe-to-toe with Atlanta. They don't want to be stretched, as they know that, especially when it comes to the midfield and the forwards, they have a lot of strength on the wings to Atlanta. And they have to be great on the defensive side of things if they want to counter the other way. As they do, service to Akoba, not there. Takedown between Weah and Chirilla. And Chirilla shown the book. You had the deep ball with Weah and Chirilla. And you can really argue who was the aggressor in that situation, but regardless, this will be a long service for Atlanta.
FC Cincy, 2 yellow card in the 86th minute to number 88, Andre Chirilla.
Chavez, the lone man on the wall, as it's Javier Armas, the captain, to serve with 3.5 minutes to go of 90. Armas, low drive, but slowly back towards Sesak. Shove from behind, Daly hits the deck. Amir Daly, what an interesting story he's had. He's captaining FC Cincinnati now. He made his first team debut in the CONCACAF Champions Cup back in February, where he broke his collarbone on that game in his first team debut against FC Motagua. He has spent some time off of the roster for FC Cincinnati in its entirety because he was dealing with that injury, and comes back pretty much immediately going into World Cup qualifiers with Antigua and Barbuda for the first caps of his career with his home country. Something he said is a real honor, especially because not a lot of players get to play international football. As footballing here is Mangione, sends it, Caicedo can't get it through. Back for Chavez, sends it towards goal, blocked off by Mazzaferro, and cleared by the Five Stripes. Kept alive by Adnan. Crystal centers. Sesak deflects.
Quick, come on, let's get out.
Trying to reset the spot of the throw-in. As Atlanta will have 2 consecutive games here at Fifth Third Bank Stadium on their return against the 2 Ohio clubs. Today against Cincinnati, where they're still at 0 in the 89th, before getting a visit from the Columbus Crew on Sunday. And following that is a 4-game road trip between Carolina Core, New England, the postponed rematch against Inter Miami and Toronto. Atlanta worked their way upfield. It's Armas and Torres. Chong Ki settles. Can't get around the man Hurtado on the diving block. Stolen by Armas. Armas to Weah. Weah tries to do a swim move around the defender, cannot get there. It's a foul against Atlanta. The disruption of Ben Manfroy halts the attack of FC Atlanta United 2 as FC Cincinnati win it back. Armas with Weah, and
ladies and gentlemen, the fourth
support by
official has
Crockford
indicated
was the one that got Weah that whistle as 5 minutes are flashed up on the board. You do not want to play Atlanta. You do not want to play FC Cincinnati if you're Atlanta in the PKs. The most PK wins in MLS Next Pro. They are 6-0 in the shootout, are Cincinnati. Atlanta, on the other hand, this season, they have not fared as well when going to the dots. 2 wins and 4 losses when Atlanta goes to the spots. But potentially looking to avoid that is Patrick Weah in Atlanta. Sesak. Weah taken down, play on with Torres. Four minutes left of second half stoppage. flag was up as one of the Atlanta attackers were offside. Throughout this 5-game winning streak for FC Cincinnati, 4 of them have come from PKs, including their last 3. Coming off of a 2-2 draw against NYC, a 3-3 draw against the New York Red Bulls, and a game that required penalties to get any goals against Chattanooga FC. Especially for Cincinnati if they want to maintain the playoff race, only 4 points behind NYC for 8th. Way up, steps on the gas, clipped from behind, and that is going to be the 2nd yellow for Caicedo. He's done for the match. That Caicedo yellow card back in the first half comes back to haunt Cincinnati as he trips up way up from behind. 2nd yellow card against Yorka F. Caicedo, done for the evening, and Atlanta will face Cincinnati 11v10 with 2 minutes to go in regulation. Javier Armas serving things up all game long. He's been one of the pivots of this Atlanta offense. He works on 3 as the wall gets built for FC Cincinnati. Atlanta look to snap the last 3 games with losses, and almost more importantly, strip the 3 points from Cincinnati, who have won their last 5. Some of the conversations at the top of the box, you've got Weah, you've got Noah Adnan in the mix. Javier Armas told us in his comments earlier in the week that the table does not represent who we are. We need to win our 3 games in hand to get back in the playoff picture. A potential service for the game winner in the 90+5. Armas short for Sesak. Sesak off of Daly. It's alive for Chong Ki. Chong Ki turns. He takes a shot. Palmed out by Crockford. It's alive for Atlanta. They get the corner. Not the move you'd expect when Javier Armas was in that position, but it did work out in their favor as Chong Ki elects not to go to Moore, attempts to go himself, and Armas serves again, ready to outswing for the corner in the final minutes. Armas, service, header, it's down, it's loose, and it's cleared by Cincinnati. Torres keeps it in play for Sesak. Final push for the Five Stripes. Armas. Carmichael's wide open. Clips it in. Too high. Keeps it alive. Sent out by Mangione. Armas chops it down. Carmichael pushes forward. Chavez escapes. And sent down the line and out. The good news for Atlanta, it's their ball thrown in by Hibbert. Even before the game started, Steve Cook said that this game could be the flip of a coin. How about the probability of scoring from 10 yards out on the dot? If Atlanta cannot convert a man up, Sesak down the line, sends it centrally, the header's up and out! It's gone for a goal kick as it could not be tucked in. this final look. Nick Sesok has been problematic on that right side of the formation. Just got the tiniest of clips off of Rodrigo Neri, could not keep it in play, and it will be Nate Crockford to send it out. Torres steals away. Armas pivots for Carmichael. Final push for the Five Stripes. It's Carmichael. Cleared by Cincinnati as they find a point apiece.
Ladies and gentlemen,
90 plus minutes down, 0 goals at the end. This game will be decided by penalties, where Cincinnati look to keep their shootout win streak alive. We'll be back with the PK shootout when we return.
Action!
At the end of regulation, since the teams are tied on the scoreboard, the match will extend to a shootout, with each team having 5 attempts. If the teams are tied after 5 attempts, they will go to sudden death. The shootout winner will receive an extra point in the regular season standings.
Returning back at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw, Georgia. 90 minutes solves absolutely nothing, as both Jaden Hibbert and Nate Crockford were perfect through 90 plus minutes of play. 18 total shots were attempted, only 5 made targets. As only 5 made targets, 3 of them favoring Atlanta, 2 shots on target for Cincinnati, but regardless, Hibbert and Crockford have been perfect. It's a test of which team is going to want it more after 90 plus minutes of play from the dot. For Atlanta United, this is the first time they've seen the penalty shootout since the 19th of May, where they lost that shootout to Crown Legacy. That was one of the games that was relocated for Atlanta. They took 2 wins, one against Carolina Core the last time they were here, and against Huntsville on the road. They have lost their last 3 games since. And for FC Cincinnati, 5 straight wins, 4 on the PKs. As we take a look back at how we got here through 90 plus minutes of play, it was really a back and forth affair both ways. Critical mistakes by both Cincy and by Atlanta. This is the first chance by Luke Brennan to really push the pace a little for Atlanta United 2. Moises Tablante got the header up but not through. And the second chance by Armas was pushed over. Javier Armas, what a game he's had so far for the All-American from Oregon State. And he got the service in and got the swipe in by Tablante, but couldn't quite convert as well. And Cincinnati wouldn't be without tries of their own. 3-on-2, split out wide to Koba. Decided to do the unselfish thing. You had Augie and Mangione alone at the top of the 6, just cannot tuck it in. And this was towards the tail end of the second half, where it was an absolute ripper from Cooper Sanchez away from the outstretched arms. And this was another service made by Armas. First tap made by Rodrigo Neri, couldn't tap it in before the clearance. Mangione would get a try of his own the other way. That would fall for Ben Manfroy, who got this one into the hands of Hibbert. And this was right at second half stoppage. At this point, it's 11 v 10 in favor of Atlanta. They just couldn't quite get it through after the release by Chong Ki. And it's going to go to the PK shootout for Atlanta and for FC Cincinnati 2. Gene Hibbert, he's been in 5 of the 6 PKs that Atlanta has faced, where he's gotten the points in 2 of those 5. Where Hibbert has gotten the bonus for the number 19 overall pick in the 2024 MLS Super Draft. And for Nate Crockford, he has gone to PKs in his last 3 starts now. He won the last 2 between Toronto and Chattanooga. Javier Armas, the first to step up, where he has been so deadly for the second rounder in the 2024 Super Draft. Javier Armas steps up first. The captain to kick it off. Off the post and out. After the first shooter, all the pressure is on Jaden Hibbert, and Atlanta United 2 opens the door for FC Cincinnati to take the lead after round 1 of the shootout. First shooter for Cincinnati will be Tega Ikoba. He actually got a goal against the Red Bulls. That wasn't on a PK, but that was actually off of a rebound after Peter Mangione hit the post. So Ikoba, he's able to tuck it in. He's done so twice already this year, 16 times in his MLS Next Pro career. Tega Ikoba to put Cincy ahead in round 1. Slots it past Hibbert. That one beating the outstretched arms, just going bottom right. And if Atlanta want to have a chance of getting the upper hand back on Cincinnati, they will need to rely on Sal Mazzaferro to equalize this shootout at 1. He spent the last 2 years with Austin FC, spent the last 3 prior as a 2-time second-team AAC with USF. The Toronto native in round number 2. Mazzaferro got it. Mazzaferro down the gut as Crockford makes the dive. And it's a chance for Peter Mangione, who has been so reliable for this FC Cincinnati side, getting his first goal of the season against NYC on Sunday, a 3-year first-team All-Big Ten with the Penn State Nittany Lions to keep Cincinnati in front. Mangione pulls the trigger on the second one as he puts Cincinnati ahead in the shootout. Calm, cool, collected, top left corner. As Atlanta will push on their third shooter, it is Rodrigo Neri. Four of Neri's 7 goals have come this year. Not only a career high, but leading the team. Neri starts round 3. Scores. Neri keeps Atlanta alive, as this one is just smashed into the opposite corner. As it is a chance for Ademar Chavez, the first-year man from California, previously of the LAFC Academy. In his 7th appearance in his first season, making only his 2nd start in MLS Next Pro, as the 16-year-old looks to set up Cincinnati to lead round 3. Chavez off the fingertips and in. Hibbert did pretty much everything you could do there just to get the PK deflected, but could not prevent it from going in. And it's a chance for the USA International at the U18 level, the 17-year-old Dominic Chong-Ki, 25th appearance, 19th start for the Alpharetta, Georgia native. Dominic Chong-Ki. Just like Chavez, off the hand of Crockford and in. And both of the respective shooters have made this very tight. And it's a chance for Cincinnati to put the pressure on Atlanta, as it is Noah Adnan to step up. Cincinnati look to continue building up the table with the extra point. Noah Adnan, over! Noah Adnan skies this ball and keeps Atlanta's hopes of the extra point alive. When talking about PK tactics, Ty Marshall and his squad, they are 6-0, and in his comments with us this week, he talked about how strong nerves are probably the biggest factor in succeeding in the PK. Is that what's in store for Nate Crockford as he looks at Caden Moore? Moore, he skies it. Caden Moore, he was sprinting up and pushed this thing over. And it's a chance for Amir Daly, the captain, to clinch it for Cincy. Amir Daly has missed some time throughout the year, getting his first caps with Antigua and Barbuda at the international level with the senior team at World Cup qualifiers. He wears the armband today for the 23-year-old from the Duke Blue Devils to seal it for Cincy. Daly seals 6 for Cincy. Their 6th straight win, 5 in the PKs.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the match with a final score of 0-0 between FC Cincinnati 2.
Amir Daly smashes this one beyond the fingertips of Jaden Hibbert and keeps perfection for Cincinnati. 7-0 when they go to penalties are Cincinnati, as they will walk away with the extra point and climb within 2 points of the number 8 seed in NYCFC. It has been a defensive back and forth between the two sides, but when it's all said and done, it is Cincinnati who will take the bonus point in the shootout after zeros were across the board after 90+ minutes of play.
Your attendance at tonight's match. We hope to see you at our next match on Sunday. That's this Sunday, July
As we take a look at the two netminders, Nate Crockford leading the way for FC Cincinnati, stopping 3 Atlanta shots on target in regulation. He is our man of the match. And even in a 0-0 stalemate, that doesn't mean you can't have your impact, as it was Nate Crockford who stood strong in the shootout to get the extra point for Cincinnati. Not just the one, but the 2 as well, as we end this one tied at 0, but Cincinnati winning the shootout 4 shots to 3 when it's all said and done. Some of it with the encouragement of Nate Crockford and everything he's done. That is 3 consecutive starts with wins for Crockford, all of them in penalty kicks. Thank you so much for joining us here at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw, Georgia. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Season Pass all season long on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Ryan Lee. Zeros across the board, but Cincy got the extra point. Be 2 points outside of the playoffs. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.